Welcome to Vanessa and Melissa. We are so excited for today because we realized as we were going through our content that this is really the best ofs.
Well, or one of our favorite things show.
We're talking about sex, food, and
Christmas!
This is like amazing.
We just realized that as we were talking about our segments, we're like, okay, and we're like, oh my goodness,
It's
these
all
are
the
all
things
things
we
we love. What does that say about us? Anyway, they all go well together too.
But in regards to the sex, we're talking about marital sex and, how this can become an issue in marriages over time. After kids is where we're really focusing in because we both have children, and a lot of moms we talk to that this is a common issue.
Well, it can become an issue, right? Because we are all so busy with our children, with work, with extracurricular activities. We're just bogged down with so many responsibilities that at the end of the day, some of us just want to go to sleep, right?
There is a stat that we found, and it basically said they interviewed 150 men and women, and they said, do you have sex less since having children? And 78.9% of the people said yes.
Yeah, I think it is one of those things that just kind of slips away. Yeah, and it's easy to, like, once it goes a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then it just kind of becomes like a month.
And it's then comfortable then.
Well,
comfortably uncomfortable?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and so now it's turned into something that the media talks about. They make a ton of movies about this kind of topic. There was a book or a movie released called Sex After Kids, and it's about people
who don't have sex after children?
Yeah.
Or who do?
Don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
And how they're trying to figure out how to get back into their marriage.
Okay.
Sex.
My ultimate favorite is This Is 40. I relate to them, although the fact that they hate each other, that's not a good thing. You don't want to be in that place because it's really hard to want to have sex with your partner when you hate them. But
we're going to talk about that too.
But it's just all the things we struggle with, right? Like we're just so busy.
Right. When you become a mom, things like you said, children there's distractions, right?
Yes.
So children, your busy lives, the blatant distraction that they might walk in on you.
You just got to find your spots. We've had this conversation before.
We've also talked about this.
Yeah. But yeah, and also communication. I think sometimes when, you have a fight about something and you're irritated and it drags on and then you're not as interested to have sex with your partner. Like the list goes on, right? There's so many reasons why you might not connect with your partner physically.
Yeah. So that's why today we're going to start with talking about sex after kids. So we have a lot of unanswered questions around the whole sex after kids things, and we're not the experts, so we wanted to bring somebody in who is. So we've invited sexologist Kelly McDonnell-Arnold to talk to us a little bit about sex after kids. Thanks for being with us here today.
Thanks for having me. I love your show.
Thank you. Well, we're so happy to have you here, and this is a topic that we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
So we really need to talk to
It's one of our favorites.
Yes,
mine
comes
too.
up often.
Yeah, it's obviously one of yours.
And yours, your parents. So.
Right. Okay, so when we're talking about, sex, and I guess for my situation right now, I could kind of go into the pregnancy question.
Yeah.
Like for women who are pregnant or heavily pregnant, what kind of advice do you give on navigating through your sex life during pregnancy and when a newborn arrives? Because that's a tough time.
Oh, it's huge. I really encourage new parents or, parents who are going through another pregnancy to just really be open and make it a priority. I know there's morning sickness, you're tired, your body's changing, your erogenous zones are changing.
They are?
Yeah, they can.
Your what?
She's like,
your
erogenous zones.
Let's just get it out there that I'm the prude here and I know no terminology.
You're like, you're what? Okay, wait, can you describe what an erogenous zone is?
Just like an erotic zone. So it could be someone's earlobe
is that
for
like
someone.
Your G-spot?
No, it's just more like
I don't know.
if your partner knows you, then they might know specific areas of your body to touch where it might feel better for you. And everybody's body is different.
So like an earlobe.
Exactly.
Or chin.
So I get it. Mine's my neck, I think.
Right.
Okay.
But it could change when you're pregnant.
Especially if they're nipples too, right?
Yeah.
Then they could be very
That's right.
sensitive.
Those were off limits for me during when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Well, they can stimulate labor too. Too much nipple stuff,
contractions for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'd encourage to just be open and listen to your bodies, but making it a priority. So especially with the navigating it from pregnancy to not pregnancy, a lot of times I'll work with couples where they'll just say, I'm just not feeling well, or we're just not figuring out how to do this together, so we're just going to wait till the baby comes. And I would say that, no, don't do that. The best thing you can do is strategize, get creative, have some fun with it about how you can maintain it during pregnancy. So then it's easier to then navigate another different situation after pregnancy.
So it goes back to the whole communication thing again, which I think is what we commonly talk about. But there's something you discuss a little bit called intimate communication, which is different than regular communication. What would you say that is?
It's just talking about your intimacy and sexuality. So a lot of times you can be very effective communicators outside of the bedroom, but it's just encouraging you to be effective communicators inside of the bedroom. So calling it just intimate communication. So I want to have an intimate talk, or, just being really open and honest about what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Doing it at nighttime doesn't work for me anymore, and in the morning I don't feel good, so maybe we can plan a date at lunch hour or 3 p.m. It's just, and then also being open and honest about what feels good for your body at that time, because your body feels different, and your partner isn't a mind reader, and so they're going to keep trying to do the same things, and maybe it's different.
I feel like that would be a hard one for couples, to actually tell your partner what you like. I know that sounds silly, but
I agree.
I think there are probably, I mean, you would know, probably a lot of couples out there who may not have ever told their partner what they actually like.
Yeah, and I think that it goes back again to sometimes how you're raised. Like, if you're raised that sex is a dirty thing to talk about, then you kind of just get into this relationship and you're expected to know what to do. And then if it's not working for you, it's almost like, do we talk about this? Like, that's got to be a bit uncomfortable too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And especially if you think that your partner is just going to handle it and they know what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, maybe something's wrong with you. And so maybe you need to figure out how do you like what they're doing. And, you don't want to upset your partner or hurt your partner's feelings by saying, actually, what you're doing is not working for me.
Right. Like,
Right.
that is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. And then how do they not take that personally?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
it's hard.
How do you recommend telling your partner that they're doing something that you don't really love and you'd like it? Like, how do you recommend that communication to go?
I would start with exploration. So doing erotic, sensual massages where it's not working out the knots, even though those can feel good too. But just re-exploring each other's bodies and then talking about it afterwards. So taking the focus off the end result and just saying, I really liked this, so maybe we can build on that next time. So instead of saying, don't like that, I want you to do this.
Focus on the positive.
Focus on the positive and exploring together and, relearning each other's bodies. And
So starting over a little bit.
yeah, exactly. And also it's important to know when you are pregnant, as the baby is growing, then face-to-face intimate times can be
Impossible,
right?
A struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're like,
and that's just it. And so you always want to make sure mom is in charge of the penetration, so whether it's on a chair and holding onto the handles, or it's doggy style, rear entry. But then it's important to make sure that you're kissing before and after and doing all that stuff, because otherwise afterwards you're like, I feel very vulnerable, or I didn't get that emotional connection. So it's just, it's a lot to remember, but just rolling with it and talking.
It's good work though, right?
Yeah.
It's work, but it's good work.
What goes along with that, I think, is also self-worth. And you talk a little bit about that with us, that it's important to still feel, in love with yourself and respect yourself. So can you talk about how that's important with regards to marriage and sex? And
it's so important to be attached or connected to your sense of self. So I think we were talking about before the show how you were saying to your daughter, like, I'm still me, okay? I'm your mom, but I am still me.
Yes.
And then how you're going away with your partner, like, we're still a couple, okay? Like, we're your parents, but we still have a relationship.
We're constantly telling them this.
Yeah, and that's so important. And I think a lot of times for new parents particularly, especially moms, you're a full-time mom, then you're a partner, and the baby's on you all the time, so you don't necessarily need that physical connection from your partner. But it's so important to just take those time outs, not even for your relationship, but for yourself, to just say, who am I?
Yes.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get grounded in that. And then you actually feel like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. And there are more choices versus feeling like, your life is taking over
I felt
you.
that after I had my daughter, I didn't feel sexual at all anymore. Like, I didn't want anybody to touch me. I didn't have anything arousal in me, like any form of arousal or whatever. And I remember that feeling, and that stuck around for a little while. And I started to kind of connect it to postpartum a little bit, but getting that back is really difficult. And getting your partner to understand it is really difficult.
And that's where that intimate communication comes in, right? Just really expressing how you're feeling and being vulnerable, and just also sharing intimacy in different ways. So whether that's just being vulnerable and holding each other naked on the bed, or having a shower together. It doesn't always have to be about the end result, but just making that time to be vulnerable and intimate.
And I think everybody equates sex to a different thing, right? Like, for me, like, that's part of being in love always. Like, I think everyone just relates in different ways to it, right? And one thing you mentioned was there's the difference between desire versus attraction. So can you explain that? Because I feel like I get that, but like, can you break it down?
I absolutely can. So just to make it easy, desire is something that we own. So it's our jobs to feel desire. So desire is not just going to fall in your lap. You're not just going to be like, oh, I'm overcome by desire. It's not up to your partner or partners, if you're into that, to have all of a sudden this desire for them. Like, it's not up to them. It's up to you. So it's really important for you to stay connected to yourself, to your autonomy, who that is, and know how to tap into that desire, like how you desire your life, how you desire your sexuality, how you desire your partner. But it's up to your partner or your relationship and how you kind of set that up together to draw the attraction. So, maybe pre-kids, it was really attractive for them to work out and come home all sweaty. Post-kids, it's holding a baby while vacuuming.
Right?
Yes.
Right? So,
It does change. It totally changes. Like now as a parent, I
Like,
think
make those lunches, baby.
but before you had kids, you could see a picture like a Calvin Klein model or whatever and be like, wow, that's a beautiful man, whatever. Now you see a dad with a stroller or whatever and you're like, that is a hot man.
Yeah.
He is responsible. He supports his family. Like that image is way more attractive now than the latter, right?
Totally. Kelly, this has been so amazing, and we are going to have to take this up again because we're going to have you back because there's so much to talk about. And for more information, you can find Kelly online at bliss-therapy.org. Thank you again for being with us.
You got to
for
keep
having
talking.
me. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
So stay tuned because up next we are going to unravel and unveil how to actually read food labels.
It's a good one. Stay tuned.
It's a good one.